I'll mute myself in the meantime. Just tell me when to talk.
I love it when you enter awkwardly. It's one of my favorite things about the live shows. It's Patron Hangout. We're back. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, whatever you did prior to January 1st. This is I guess the first show back, really. Previous to this, we had the watch list roundup and then nothing else.
Yeah, unfortunately, we took a week off with the holidays. It ended up being the first week of January. We didn't release anything because we had taken the previous week off, if that makes sense. We just didn't have any content, so.
Yeah. We have scripts to write, things to do, and we've decided that now we get to be busy again.
Yay!
So content should be starting to come up this week. A couple changes in some of the formats of the show, or at least one of the shows. I don't know if Amber had anything to change, but Metafix.
The big change was doing casual corners.
Yeah, big change. We ended the year with that. Big change this year. I've got to change the format of Metafix because I'm talking myself in circles. There's only so much I can teach, and I've actually, like, as far as the mental game, the general game, the thought process, all of that kind of stuff, I think I've kind of got it all down pat. There's an episode for just about everything at this point. So now my Metafix is going to become from me sharing my build process with you guys, and that is tormenting myself from conception to destruction to conception to redestruction to redestruction to conception to, my gosh, giving up, to all the emotional roller coaster that comes with Jason building a team. But I'll also try to
That sounds like so much fun.
It is. It's going to be a laugh riot, I'm sure. I'm good. This is going to be a twofold exercise because for those of you familiar or unfamiliar, I do write articles for Majestics. And I'm going to be focusing my articles on Majestics because they're more rock. They work in conjunction with the rock a little bit more. I'm going to be focusing the limited format towards that. And then the show, Metafix, because we like to keep everything with everything, that we decide to, what's the word I'm looking for? Everybody's making fun of me now for my new show format. So, but I'm going to everything in for the actual video version of the show. So we might film a practice session or two. I'm not sure. It depends on whether I can keep my mood clean on that one or not. Maybe actually being under camera will keep me in a better mood the entire time. Either way. So anyway, the goal for it, I'm going to try, because I want to start the process this week. The process is going to be based on my Canadian Nationals team, and then the speed rush to get a Worlds team together, whether or not I have to change off of that or just kind of join the meta game as I did last year. So anyway, that's my idea for the Metafix going into the future. If you have your suggestions, comments, or displeasures, if you're a patron, check, let us know in the Discord. If you're watching the video right now, put it in the chat. Is your opinion on that, or in the comments if you're watching in the archive version of this. But that said, Amber, do you have any content discussion you wanted to have, or?
I don't think so.
This is the new year. Get it off our chest now, because we got to start opening it up for the patrons soon.
No, because I just, like I said, I just switched over from a focus on Dial It Up to doing Casual Corner, which I have a tournament review. I have a couple of scenario builds to go over, and we've got some lists to write. So I've got content backed up for it.
Yeah.
So
I've got lists to write. You gotta perform them.
Yes.
This is script writing. Jason's not only a.
And I feel like we just don't have the right.
No, lights are all in the wrong positions and everything like that. It's all good. All right. Okay. So then, without further ado, the man we know only as Tiger Alchemist has joined us in the live version of it. And so we're going to start with his personal question. Then we'll start digging into the patron questions. And then if anybody else joins in, or we'll kind of go live patron Discord for our questions. So take it away, sir.
Okay. Well, I'll start with the one that I had originally put in the Discord. What would you give for a title Wolverine? Specifically Amber.
So I guess we're looking at like power-wise.
Just
like what would be on his dial?
It's kind of a joke question, like Klondike bar. What would you do for a Klondike bar? What would you do for a title Wolverine?
Oh, I'm dumb.
See, underneath the pink is blonde, folks.
I mean, the real question is, what do you want the plus and minus powers to be? But you know, you got to have the joke question first.
So what would you do for title Wolverine, Amber?
What wouldn't I do?
I've seen her do some things. So.
I don't think it's safe for me to answer that, so
Fair
we'll
enough.
skip over that one. So for like his plus and minus,
Did you already ask that, or?
well, yeah, he added that in.
Okay, he added that in. All right, cool. What would you give the plus and minus? Because I know what I would do, and mine is really weird.
I'm just like, I feel like I don't play the titles enough to say like that I would like have it build up, but I think I would like him to be kind of like the Star Trek teleporter guys, to call in people from the sideline as his big thing, but like have it his keywords would be like Team X or Weapon X or Xavier's School, and just start like throwing people out on the board. But so there's usually like a plus one
Minus one or two,
yeah,
and then a big one.
Then
My
big
big
one.
minus.
I feel like his thing is like I want his plus one to be like a heal, but then if he doesn't attack, he takes damage, which if you're on top dial won't really do anything until the next turn, which actually could make sense. So I think that would work with his plus one being like heal click. And then maybe this, yeah, Deadpool did have a heal on one of his. I feel like maybe you could have like he gets like a charge that he'd be able to use flurry with his charge or something, where you could do like some like one of those combinations that you wouldn't normally be allowed to do, he could do if you took some plot points away. Like charge flurry exploit or whatever. Like whatever the combination is that you're not allowed to do.
You don't have a big minus?
No, his big minus was calling in people.
Oh, okay. I see what you're trying to do with that. I'm going strict Wolverine on mine, though. I like your idea, but I was a little inspired when we were going over our Magic the Gathering stuff today. I'm teaching Amber Magic the Gathering. I'm taking her pre-release next weekend. So, but one of the new Planeswalkers, Huaxatl, I believe her name. I don't know how to pronounce her name properly. I'm sorry. Huatli. Sure. She has a loyalty ability, or a thing. You basically the plus one in this case would be +1, but every time Wolverine is attacked or takes a damage, I haven't decided which one it would be. Add another plot point token to him. Okay. So it's a +1, he gets one there, and then if he's attacked, he gets more plot points. I'm going somewhere with this, okay?
He promises.
And that's his +1, all right? His -2 is going to be something like you said, except I'm going more for like the pure Fury Berserker, full movement charge Battle Fury, right? If he'll have blades on some click, it's Wolverine, right? Or he'll have exploit. He's Wolverine. So
maybe a traded blades.
Traded blades.
I don't think they give traits to the title ability characters.
True.
One trend they have with the title characters, they don't give them a bunch of special powers. It's what you see is what you get as far as dial. The special comes from the title abilities. We might get our first traded blades guy. Who knows? But I'm not holding my breath on him having blades until mid to late dial. But his minus, and this is gonna be like a -8. Heal to click 1. Make him incredibly difficult to kill as a result. Title characters always have huge long dials. Massive dials. And then, that would be the plus and minus abilities. I think that works for Wolverine. Where initially his +1 doesn't look like it does a lot, it allows you to fuel his Berserker Rage by getting extra tokens if they do happen to attack you. Wolverine's getting pissed. He gets pissed as Wolverine, loses the plot, but goes forward. And then, he's made the plot, he heals. heals to click 1. And because these abilities are usually free, it's super OP.
I
Right?
like yours better.
Yeah. I mean, I went more for Wolverine as a loner kind of character. You went for Wolverine and the X-Men. That's kind of where we differed in that matter. So that's how I would design it.
I think I have a better -2 on that Wolverine for you, Jason. Fastball special. Any character gets to throw Wolverine as their attack, and then Wolverine gets to flurry for free.
I like the idea, but they give that to Colossus so frequently, I think it's almost unnecessary at this point.
You don't want to see Hulk doing a fastball special?
I don't. I mean, Hulk, when he throws the fastball special with Wolverine, it's into a wall.
That's true. Those two
They don't get along. I don't know if you read the comics very often.
Oh my gosh, I want our light to just stay where, like, at one point.
It's me. Every time I move, I open up more lighting into the apartment and the camera readjusts for it. Yeah, that's how I would design it. That's how Amber would design it. It's a neato idea. All right. So next we move to...
Okay.
So we already asked this question, so we now move to Nathaniel's, I believe, would be right here. Ugh.
Yeah.
And it would be Leonard or Hank McCoy.
Mine has a caveat.
Oh.
Hank McCoy, but time-displaced Mystic White Beast McCoy.
That is like 8 qualifiers.
No, it's not. It's not. It's just the Hank from the past. I really like where they went with him in the new comics. Where it's just young Hank. It's young Hank from current timeline that got ripped out of the past. Just he learned sorcery under Doctor Strange, and it's really cool.
I too have a caveat. It's Leonard, but it's Leonard from the new Star Trek series, because that's the only thing I think they did better. I think Carl Urban as Dr. McCoy is...
Well,
I prefer him!
I prefer Carl Urban in anything you put
Oh,
him in,
stop
so.
it. He took off his shirt once in the series.
I don't care if he's shirtless or not. The man is sexy.
He also wore a mask through all of Dread. Calm yourself.
And he was still sexy.
All right. Was there a second question in the general chat? Or
It's just been Nathaniel and Tiger Alchemist going back and forth.
So on that note, Tiger Alchemist, you have the floor again, sir.
Okay. If you want, Mick is easier, and that's usually what I go by. But
all right. Mick is less awesome than Tiger Alchemist, but I accept Mick.
It's your call. How many triples are you at now?
How many are we at now? 6?
7.
7?
I acquired another one this past week.
We ended up having a friend of ours, every time he opens triples, kind of just throws them out.
He just doesn't care.
So
he doesn't care. He's got even less than us because he didn't buy by the brick. He bought like a couple packs here and there. He wasn't really going to invest in the set, and then he's invested more in the set than he thinks. But I also want to point out, in the number of packs, he's maybe opened 6 packs.
Yeah, and
he has pulled as many triples as we've pulled.
Yeah.
So he's actually correction. He's pulled 1 more triple than we've pulled, because we pulled 3 in total. 1 at the sealed, and then 2 in our cases worth, not a single case, but cases worth of packs. Our friend here has opened 6 packs, or sorry, 7, 8 packs maybe, and got 4 triples.
Yeah, ridiculous, just ridiculous. But like 3 triples alone showed up at our sealed tournament. And there's only like 6 of us.
Yeah, I think I'm a Klingon. Like I'm a Klingon, and that's why they're ducking me. It's embarrassing how very few triples I have. On another unrelated note, maybe related, who knows? I have currently acquired 12, and I'm going to have by the end of the week 17 Wakandan warriors, along with currently owning 4, and we'll have by the end of the week 9 demons from Undead.
Jason's collecting his figure factory.
I am collecting factory bait. Oh man. Hey, I do this on purpose. Somebody making a ball joke at me. All right.
preemptive strike on genetics.
It is. It is the most preemptive strike. What would you consider to be the best generic in the game? This is also coming from Nathaniel.
I think points-wise, is it the mercenary?
Yeah, the fact that you can get 15 points can possibly do 4 damage. The only thing you lose out is if she's the last character, you're dead. Well, if she's the last character, you're dead anyway.
Yeah, I love the mercenary. Like, the mercenary was the greatest thing about doing Harley Seals. Like, that figure, you go so far with that figure.
Yep.
And just for the 15 point, like, just point per value sort of thing. The min-maxing on her is fantastic. So I think that's just sticking out in my mind because I don't play a lot of generics. So I haven't gone through a lot of them, but her, I think I had like 2 of them in my sealed team alone. Just fantastic figures. Yeah,
they scared me when I played against you. That and the Shazam were frightening things. The mercenary. I think you're confused because the mercenary was on my team as well in our game.
I wasn't talking about our game. I was talking about 401.
Oh, 401.
And
okay.
I had like 2 mercenaries on my team.
I'm sorry. I apologize then for making assumptions. She was part of my winning team, one of my winning WKO teams. So I was kind of excited to have her. Yeah, the fact that she could do 4 damage, just to look in your opponent's face and it's like, wait, she did how much damage? Or does 3 damage with an 11 attack on a 15-point character? That's cool. That is all very cool. But it's still the triple. It makes itself. It slows down opponents. It forces attacks that your opponent shouldn't be attacking. Even though people can automatically break away from them, they break away much slower than they should be breaking away from a triple. And I think that's what makes their effectiveness so super. Like, I mean, a lot of people. I've had a couple of questions like, how do you get to the idea that triples make ID cards better? Well, again, you're not when you play triples, you can add them to your team numbers at 5 points a pop. So effectively, if you, let's say, have a 3-figure team you can get 3 ID cards. So if you want to add to that team, you can basically make your ID cards cost 10 instead and start adding triples to the team. In addition to which, if you're doing that as well, you happen to have one character on your team who's got Mastermind, you've doubled the effectiveness of a triple. So, I mean, just as they are, triples. It's the trouble with triples, right? I mean, granted, if your opponent commits an attack to them, unless they critically miss, they're dying. It's a given. Triples just die. That's what they do. But subsequently, they're for what you get for 5 points in effectiveness, they're not at. So many people look at like they don't do enough damage. That doesn't matter.
That's not why they're there.
No, they are not there. They give up points. It's 5. I give up 5 points to bring 120 on the board these days. I mean, I'm giving up points left, right, and center. As long as I'm gaining points or doing something otherwise, my team is working. So don't get too focused on giving up points, folks. I guess that is a meta fix I got to do still, eh? All right. Mick, what you got for us, sir?
So, are we going to have to wait for the brick unboxing video, or do we get to find out what you get in your pre-release that I'm certain that you're going to ahead of time?
Oh yeah, we're not sure when it comes down to what we get for stuff from WizKids. That's on them. We get it after Scott Porter, so hopefully Scott Porter is before the pre-releases.
Yeah, it all comes down to timing on that. If it happens to be before the pre-release, we will do our videos as we always do. If it happens to be after a pre-release, we'll still do our videos, but it may be more focused on doing kind of a sealed setup trial thing, like we did with Harley, because we got Harley late. So it all depends. Really, all that's going to happen is what type of video we do rather than whether you guys will see it or not. You guys are going to see it regardless. We're putting that out there.
It's a matter of what kind of value we can offer you as part of the video. Because we are required, we found out the hard way once, to wait for Scott Porter to release his videos. That's cool. That's WizKids releasing their own video. WizKids isn't going to let somebody come before them, right? Now, if Scott Porter isn't doing videos, we get view counts like we got for the Mighty Thor. All that aside, I understand the question being, are we going to get it before the pre-release? Maybe, maybe not. It would be great if we did. If not, well, the set's going to be spoiled by then. And that's just something we have to do. So this is why we come up with ideas like, hey, what would we do with sealed with our brick, and just open the packs for you guys in that manner, and do it with that as our focus. And then of course we do a nice little treat for you guys as the patrons sometimes, where we'll switch up the packs and say, well, how would you build Amber's team, Jason? Jason, how would you build, or Amber, how would you build Jason's team? So,
we didn't end up doing that with Star Trek because each team required
like
7 to 9 figures.
Yeah.
There was no really alternate way to make the teams.
Would you change this one?
So,
or this one?
So we decided not to do that video for you guys, unfortunately, just because of the nature of the Star Trek set. So.
Yeah, there's no value for the patrons on that one, except it would have been a funny joke video for the patrons, I guess. I mean, do you guys like that kind of stuff? Let us know. It's just...
You just want a video of us.
Do you want us being funny? Whatever. It's like, okay, Amber, what would you do? The same. So, but yeah, we cannot guarantee any dates as far as our unboxings are concerned. I mean, sometimes we have to buy the product ourselves and unbox it for you guys, depending on whether or not we're playing any unboxings. We've also got another channel that does product openings in conjunction with WizKids, and that is the Tabletop Teacher. And if there's a more beginner focused set like the movie sets, he tends to get them over us now, which is cool, because honestly, I've been finding the movie sets mostly collect dust in my bins. So as cool as they are, I'm a super competitive player when it comes down to it. I am a super competitive player, but I'm also able to be a casual player. I got a caveat. I always got to remember that. Yeah, I am a super competitive player, but it's not like I don't own stuff that's not competitive. I do play with junk sometimes too, mostly for a laugh and mostly to embarrass people sometimes. It's one of my favorite games to play with people, where it's like, here's a pile of jank. Let's see if I can beat people with it. Well, apparently I can. And then people leave very angry. So, yeah, I think that's enough behind the curtain talk for now, right? Have I sufficiently bored everybody with that? Right. Nathaniel's got a joke question in there, as in, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Now, here's the thing. It does depend on whether or not the woman behind the bank teller counter saw him flying a flag that had Does anybody remember this game? Nobody's getting this reference. This reference is falling off of everybody. I hope on Netflix soon. Is what I hear is going to be a cool series with that. Games are cool. And learning it was one of the, we had it cool as kids. We had the coolest learning games. I want to play the games I learned with back in the past. I didn't have Oregon Trail because the Oregon Trail wasn't part of our history. But we had things like Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, Mass Circus. What was the other one that was really good? Heck, they gave us Tetris as part of our learning for hand-eye coordination and playing stacking.
So when I was younger, there was a series, and I think you had to mail order them in. They weren't sold in stores, of a series of learning games with Sesame Street that was on the Atari, and it actually had its own special joystick controller. And there was an Ernie one, a Cookie Monster one, a Big Bird, and an Oscar the Grouch. And they taught different things like patterns and spelling and counting and stuff like that. So I actually there was a meme that popped up on my Facebook the other day, and it was using a GIF, what was the first game you ever played? And I was I'm watching everybody go Ocarina of Time and Mario 3 and some other random things, but a lot of really common ones. And I'm yeah, I learned how to spell with Sesame Street on the Atari when I was 3, because that's how ingrained gaming has been in my life. It was I was learning my ABCs through the Atari.
Yeah. What was my first video game? I remember. There's something on the Atari for sure. I have vague recollection of my parents playing the slot machine game, but that could be because my parents told me they did that. I think first recollection would be Space Invaders or some version of Space Invaders on the VIC-20 because we were poor. We had a VIC-20, which was basically a keyboard you plugged into a TV. Sometimes, if you want to, you know what they used to do for games? They give you on instead of giving you a disc in a magazine, they give you the code on the back page.
Nice.
So you have to actually type in the basic code in the back of it just to get the game. But then that's where I learned how to mod in the first place. You could get that little square a lot faster, man. All right. So we go back to Mick, who's in person.
So, what would you hope that Apocalypse has for his traits? Because you know he's coming, one way or another.
Come on, Emmett. Get your life together.
It's because Discord overrides everything when it pops up. It's frustrating.
Size change?
Yeah, I was thinking on the size change, and he should actually have a Colossal Retaliation.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. So con exclusive? Big one?
No, he doesn't have to be big. He could be like Stiltman, where he's like small and he can become colossal. And when he's colossal, he can have his Colossal Retaliation. Because
So
he
bad
goes from man. I need to stop talking.
Man size to
Nope, I'm done.
what? Stiltman's a bad retaliator. So you said like Stiltman.
I meant as a single base figure. You jackass.
You know I'm kidding.
I know. You're still a jackass.
You're so angry. This is what I have to deal with, guys, on a regular basis. She's so angry.
Stop being a jackass. I won't be so angry.
Yeah. I guess if we're talking Age of Apocalypse, he's got to have some kind of size change. He's not really well. I mean, that was the thing is like of all the Age of Apocalypse books I've read, he almost wasn't there. So I almost feel like he should have a version or a dial that's not on the board, because he's just not around in the books, right? Like I'm not crazy, right? Or is it just because I read like Weapon X and no, I just read Weapon X now. I think about it.
Yeah, I've only read Weapon X and then the Secret Wars of Age of Apocalypse, which is ridiculous because in the Secret Wars one, he goes like insane with his survival of the fittest to the point where he himself and like all of his minion or his acolyte guys, whatever, have developed a virus that has like a 90% mortality rate or something like that. And he purposely like puts it out there to kill the other mutants to be like, well, only the strongest will survive. It's like Apocalypse. You've gone insane. Even more so than you already were.
Yeah. Again, because of my understanding of Age of Apocalypse, because he felt like just a presence more than an actual guy, I feel like even though they could have a figure, I think he'd actually be a natural possessor. Or you know, not necessarily a possessor, but more or less just doing things from the sidelines that a -1 to all your opponents because he scares the crap out of them because everybody seemed to scared of Apocalypse for the entire series. It's that again, basing off of Weapon X and a couple of the trades that I might have accidentally read here and there. I mean, we have a Marvel Unlimited. I really should read it at some point, but I think it was because it was one of those things like, here's 4 months of a thing. Okay, we're done.
Duh.
That's it? Oh, okay, fine. And nothing counted except Blink.
Yeah.
So, all right. Nathaniel asks, what do you think of the new rock map? I believe. Okay, are we talking about the arcade or the Lucky Dice Cafe one? Because he just started announcing he's been all over the place with maps. Like they're going crazy with them lately. Both are really cool. Both are very similar in ways to the what's the word I'm looking for? Convention center map, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. They look very similar to that with a bunch of tables in the way. And so he's talking about the cafe. I do think it's super adorable that he used his game store as the basis of the map. And I do like that he's making it available for purchase.
Trying to wrap my head. I was trying to figure out whether it was like a legitimate layout of the store, but from what I can tell, it's not, because of the way that the counter and the bathrooms are situated. It would make the doors in like the starting areas, but I know the store itself is like door and then gaming area and then counter and then the bathroom's off to the side somewhere. So it's like it's not an exact replica, but I guess it's the base. I just got really confused looking at the map.
Well, they also had to make a somewhat balanced WizKids or HeroClix map, because I don't know if you guys have seen this dungeon. This thing's a hot mess.
It's so dark too.
Well, I mean, the darkness comes from all the brown and black in here. Like the map itself is brown. Plus, there's a ton of blocking terrain, and this map defies my logic, and I own it. My logic is often broken, though. I'm a big fan of the Star Trek cave map, though. That takes away points from, it doesn't like closed-in maps. I love closed-in maps. WizKids Office is one of the actual maps you get to play every rule of the game of HeroClix with. That same with the Star Trek map, So, all right, Mick, you're up again, sir.
What has been your favorite preview so far?
Well, we've had 6 of them so far. Okay, so let's go over what we had, because I just need to jog my memory on names here.
So we have Magneto, Dark Beast, and Icarus, and then Jean Grey, Professor X, and Angel.
Magneto, Icarus, Dark Beast, Jean Grey, Professor X,
Angel.
You know what? I'm all in on the Magneto. For one, it's cool to see an ability like his that's kind of perplexy, but the perplex is actually on the characters with the Hellfire Club ability, which I think is really cool. Like, those characters have to make the thing. And if you can make a theme team around the Hellfire Club team ability, that can really snowball on your opponent very quickly. So I'm really hoping that we can get something out of that. I got a lot of people complaining about audio. You guys can hear me?
You're good.
Hello?
That's what I know.
Yeah?
Yeah, you're good by me.
Okay, just give me a quick second to check what's up with everybody. I think they've all either lost their minds or something's gone crazy with the audio. Wait, I think this is an organized troll. We're being trolled. I guess that means we're effectively something now, right? Yep.
I mean, you can see through hindering.
Oh, gosh. This is ridiculous. Okay, I got to stop looking at the chat now, because the chat's actually not useful at all. KJ, if you're watching, could you just let me know if you can hear? Because you're the person that counts, because I think there's some kind of troll bot going on here that I'm going to have to ban in a second. What was the question? Oh, yeah, Magneto. Prime Magneto. I'm cool with Prime Magneto. Go ahead, Amber.
I have a hard time with previews because I don't really get all in on a figure until I sit down and I play it. I'm a very tactile person, so just reading it does very little for me. But I'm just going to go with Icarus just on the sole fact that, like, they actually made an Icarus click. Like, he doesn't do a whole lot. Whatever. Like, all Jay did was fly, so really there's not much to that. But I think it's fantastic that we finally have an Icarus click. I think that's really cool. That's my answer. Jason's gone right now. He ran away.
No, I'm in the middle of moderating our chat, Amber. So I'm right here. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, guys. For those of you who are real humans, thanks for jumping in the chat and letting me know that you can hear me. This is not the first trolls I've come across in this. Somebody, it looks like, has some kind of a bot that trolls screaming we can't hear. So I think I've banned all of them now. So that should be fine. All right. Mission accomplished.
All right.
This chat is, well, I guess I should make sure I'm tracking the chat properly here.
If you want a time filler, I can give you another question.
Yeah, go for it.
What is your favorite Colossal if you ignore the Colossal Retaliation?
Titano.
Carnage. I played Carnage at 100 points the other day. Oh, wait, he has the Colossal Retaliation at 100 as well, and that's why I love him. Oh, God, if I have to completely ignore the Colossal Retaliation, I actually ignore everything, every single dial on the Carnage, so that's not fair.
But he can start the game with symbiotes. You just can't generate them past that because that's his Colossal Retaliation.
Yeah, but that's part of his strength, too, is the fact that
Yeah.
he can Colossal Retaliate. On the 100-point version, he's got Flurry. So you can Colossal Retaliate, then he can Flurry, and then the little token that he made can attack, too. So...
I love Titano. Like he doesn't have super high stats or fantastic powers, but if you pair him with the Lois Lane from that set, every time Lois Lane moves, he gets to move for free. So having her just kind of like jump around in the background lets him move around the map freely, and then he gets to do his attacks. So I actually had a team that I brought to Canadian Nationals 3 years ago. That was based around him with the Star Sapphire battery, Jimmy Olsen, and Lois Lane, and having Lois Lane jump around, let Titano move around.
2 years ago?
2 years ago? It was the one in Montreal. So I think maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Yeah. I didn't end up playing it because I didn't make it because of stupidness. But I did play it in the side tournament and came in second with it. So
there's that.
So there is that.
There is that. Did I choose a Colossal yet?
You chose Carnage and then realized you didn't really like Carnage because he's really based on his Colossal Retaliation.
Well, it's not that I don't like him. It's that I do like him, but I do want to answer the question honestly. And he said eliminate the Colossal Retaliation. And, you know, the Colossal Retaliation on Carnage is what makes him so amazing. I've played other ones, though. I'm trying to remember which one it was that I had the most fun using. What was it? Oh, man. This is great. This is great watching right now. I'm sorry, guys. It was the Atom. It was the Atom. I used the Atom at 150 points. That's what it was. Or 100 or whatever it was. So...
You're so distracted by the chat.
I've never dealt with a bot problem this bad in the chat. No wonder half the friggin' live things I watch on YouTube ignore that. Oh, that's gonna be a nightmare on Monday is what that's gonna be. Oh. Yeah, the Atom. I've used the Atom on soldier teams. That's why I really like him. And he's actually pretty strong. He's got that ability where he can like do it's poison but not poison kind of thing. So
oh, yes. Okay.
yeah, so it's kind of neato. All right. Nathaniel asks, is beer and Clix a good idea? If it isn't a good idea, I've been taking advantage of a bad idea for a long time in my life. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I'm generally enjoying I'm generally enjoying a beverage while we filmed our episodes when we used to play games under camera. Something we should probably do again. I guess we have to now that Metafix is changing. Yeah.
Well, you know, it all depends on what we want to do with it because it's more a level of control. There's an infamous game that we filmed that
it's not infamous. It never happened.
It never saw the light of day because of how drunk I got playing it. It got bad. It got bad.
Yeah,
don't want to see that.
Yeah, she was not a fun drunk for that game. All right, Mick, back to Mick.
Maybe.
Did we lose him?
Oh, okay. I forgot whether I'd already muted myself or not. So if you were going to make your own map, what would you base it off of?
Ooh.
You go ahead on this one.
I don't have an answer. I
Why
just
don't-
like that.
I need to refill my drink. You need to have an answer, Amber.
But I don't.
I can give a different question to fill time.
No. We're gonna figure this out.
Oh, I got this figured out. I'm just waiting on you.
I think this could work as a map. We have not actually had like a danger room map, so I think it would be interesting to have a map that like had different sections of it, where like basically like 3 maps molded together, and then have like orange terrain that did special things based on like, say, like a die roll like Krakoa, where it would be like energy turrets or whatever throughout the map where those could attack, or they did other things based off of the die roll. And then so you could have like one section of the map was like a forest, and then another one was like Age of Apocalypse, and then another one was like the mall or something. And then just kind of had it like amalgamation of different maps that also had special things that could attack you. I think that would be really cool, actually. The more I talked about that, the more I liked it.
Talk yourself into liking it.
I talked myself into liking that. Now that now that you got a drink, I have to refill mine.
I gotta stop looking over that chat. It's pretty terrible. We're getting botted something fierce. Anyway, if I was to stick to just strictly things that have been made in HeroClix, while I was pouring my drink, I was thinking making a reference to Pacific Rim, because we never really got a proper like city out of that one battle between Gypsy Danger and Leatherback and other things. That would be my initial thought, but because we've got all the Pacific Rim, I think we're going to get, and I'm not really hopeful on that second movie based on the trailer. Then I'd have to move into something more comic focused. I don't think we've had a really good, like a good portion of Kunlun. We had that Kunlun map from the Avengers vs. X-Men. I didn't like it for a Kunlun, but then what can you do with it, right? Streets of Harlem would be something that would be pretty cool. A couple alleyways, something along the lines of Assassin Alley that we get from the Rock, but more based on the streets of New York kind of idea. So Harlem or Hell's Kitchen, something along those lines would be a pretty neato map. Lots of elevation, lots of alleyways, lots of delaying and disappearing on us, as Amber is doing. All right. Yeah, I think those are what I would do for a map. All right. Nathaniel asks, do you like pina coladas and getting caught in the rain? If pina coladas are a taste like something I just recently tasted in my life and had to deal with for a good solid week, no, I don't like pina coladas. I don't mind getting caught in the rain as long as it's not a winter rain in Canada. Though on Thursday it's supposed to rain, oddly enough. We're supposed to go back in the positive temperatures and get rain in early January. It's going to be an interesting one, to say the least. Amber, do you like pina coladas and getting caught in the rain?
Shit, I actually had a response to this, and I can't remember.
Well, was it on your phone?
Yes, it was.
This is exciting. We're both going to watch it.
You know
on
what?
her phone.
You need to shut up. Because there's legitimately a response to this. And it is, yes, I like pina coladas and getting caught in the rain. I'm not much into health food. I am into champagne.
God damn scum up in here.
Sounds like it's time to distract Jason. So here's your next question. If you were to make a new generic set, a generic gravity feed, what would it be based off of?
Okay, so something like the undead set?
Yes, something like the undead set, but you get to pick the generic theme of it.
See,
I personally would go for like prehistoric dinosaurs.
Ooh. Pirates, dinosaurs, mermaids.
Amber, that's Magic the Gathering.
I don't care. We can still do pirates, dinosaurs, and mermaids.
We could.
Mythical
Hold on.
creatures.
We've had mermaids. We currently have a dinosaur, and pirate is a growing keyword.
Yeah, like if we I was like buccaneers and stuff and captains, and then have different dinosaurs, not just devil dinosaur.
Pirates versus ninjas. One set. Dinosaurs versus mermaids. Second set.
I don't hate it. I think I'd go into like a mythical creature type thing. We've done the horror side. And
horror. I heard wrong. I heard that so wrong.
Because like I initially want to lean more towards going more with the horror Clix feel, but since we've already had the undead and we don't really need to go into more horror film tropes, basically, we can go the other side and just go the fantasy way, but not like Mage Knight. Go like the other side of it. I don't know where I'm going with it. You just shut me up.
I don't know. You yell at me a lot today when I tell you to shut up. So, or when I call you out on your nonsense. So I'm not sure. You're so angry today. I just was not going to call you on your crap, but that was you're full of crap there, Amber. Just I want you to know this. You're full of crap.
I think the classic version of what you were talking about, Jason, would be like dinosaurs versus aliens. I think that's the classic.
Yeah. I was just kind of going off of what Amber was going for, in the fact that I've bitten her with the magic bug. So
we'll see.
I feel like that would be like you'd want to go centaurs versus mermaids.
Ooh, having centaurs as Clix would look so cool.
It would look pretty cool. I mean, Mage Knight had centaurs, if I remember correctly, somewhere in the early days of it, so they did look pretty neat. I might be wrong.
My only exposure to Mage Knight, other than like that gravity feed that we bought, was we used the minis for a D20 campaign.
Okay.
So
fair enough. Anyway, since I'm done jumping off of yours, I guess you could just do animals. You know, like hear me out here. You could do. It's like I just lost that one.
Hear me out here.
Hear me out here. Okay. You got lions, right? Lions get blades, claws, fangs. They get some kind of leap, climb, or charge, or whatever super senses. Then you have the lioness who does more, kind of like how they got the demon, and then you have Belphegor.
Okay.
Or you have the vampire, and you have the vampire leader, whatever they call that. The werewolf and the werewolf alpha, right? You have the Heffel elephant. I almost called it a Heffalump. It's giant size, you see. And then it hits, it does knockback, right? The gorilla does super strength and has leap climb, or even better than leap climb, it has charge but ignores elevated and hindering for movement purposes. Okay. The cheetah, of course, has hypersonic speed and precision strike. See, this set writes itself, right? And,
I'm kind of loving it.
Right? There is your generic animals. Earth Day release. There you go, WizKids. That one's free.
That would make the theme of my upcoming weekly tournament easier because we're doing Zoo Breakout.
Hey, you know what? Your Chase, Tarzan, Jane. Or not even Tarzan and Jane. You go Tarzan and King Kong. I don't know. I think Tarzan falls under the open sourcing because Edgar Wright's Burroughs is old.
Could also go for the Hunter of the Greatest Game book, however old that book is.
Huh? What was Michael Douglas's character in the movie about the Lions? I can't remember what that movie was called. The Heart of Darkness, I think it was called.
Yeah, it was Heart of Darkness. I don't.
Was it Heart of Darkness?
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, whatever Michael Douglas's character name in that, or even just Alan Quartermain, whatever.
Yeah.
Just go crazy.
I don't know if they could do Quartermain because of League of Extraordinary
Well, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen is taking advantage of that. As long as they don't put it in a movie property, they're fine. I think. I don't know. Because also there's these weird loopholes where
now I feel like Quartermain actually does exist at some point in the Marvel universe.
Stop it. All right. But yeah, animals. Bank me on it.
I'm good on that. I can go for that. I could totally go for that.
Just the base? Mosquitoes.
They would be like tribbles.
2 clicks. Second click. Steal energy.
What a dick.
Oh, all right. Yeah, no more surprises for my opponents, I guess, eh? Although when the meta is solved, everything is as, nothing's a surprise, right? And I still think this. Little comments here. All right. Oregon Trail was awesome. Oh, we're in the comments section of this portion now. All right, here we go. Nope. Well, I was going to say lions and tigers and bears, oh my, but that was a low-hanging fruit. I'm not going to lie. Be right back.
All right. So at one point, Nathaniel did kind of balk at my whole white mystic beast thing. It's a thing in the comics right now where following the time-displaced X-Men that old Hank brought to the future to try to straighten out Cyclops from being a genocidal maniac, he's come to the conclusion that he's not as smart as he would have been had he grown up with technology. So being ripped from the 60s as a 16-year-old to modern age, he can't make it, he can't figure out technology, and he's like, okay, this isn't working, I need to refocus somewhere else. And he goes to Doctor Strange for advice, and he learns how to do magic with Doctor Strange. And because
I think I went closer to Mike on that one, sorry.
He ended up going back in time to ancient Egypt and messing with magic, and came back to Doctor Strange and being like, what the hell is all this? So now he practices magic, but anytime he uses magic, he goes into his beast form, which is actually a white beast instead of the blue beast with big giant horns, and he's all like demon beastie anytime he uses magic.
This is why I stopped reading X-Men.
And that face just reminded me of one of the very first games of HeroClix we ever played against each other.
Was this the face I was making on my dice, or was this the sun in my eyes?
No, this was the face you were making because it was a new guy night, and me and Jen were talking about role-playing game.
Your nonsense. Yes, I remember your nonsense now. I remember your nonsense.
And you still managed to date me years later.
Because of my nonsense. All right, and Nathaniel wants to know if we've heard the sales figures on Star Trek yet. We never really get sales figures out there for HeroClix. Here's what we can determine from things. If you talk to your local stores, depending on the relationship you have with the guys that run the store, they will or will not mention if they can reorder things or if things are out at the distributor and so on and so forth. I don't think they've run out of Star Trek at the distributor, which means at a distributor level, that if that means they're still out there, then they didn't sell a great deal. That would be unfortunate, but that would also pull me into my next part where WizKids has to ignore those right now because the original series is not going to do as well as the next generation. If they stay the course, do the next generation, then underproduce the next couple sets after the next generation, they're going to be in the perfect position. But they really need to commit to the next generation, but then undercommit the amount of product that they want to do to anything beyond next generation, because that will be exactly how this the Star Trek will sell as far as the numbers are concerned. So from what I've heard, I haven't heard a single store or anybody who runs a store mention that there's still leftover Star Trek at the distributor. Our store deals with a distributor that's on the Canadian or Ontario scale. That doesn't necessarily reflect well on the rest of the world. When we can say without a shadow of a doubt that the distributor is out of Thor, but I don't think any distributor has Thor left right now, and that does reflect the chase market for it right now. Those chases aren't going down in price anytime soon because stores still have Thor. And distributors don't have it. Distributors don't, I do believe, may or may not be out of Harley. That does depend on how the WKOs did and how they relate to what the distributors have. So do I have sales figures? Never. Do I know if the distributor has some? Sometimes. I hear it fifth hand from guys who know a guy who runs a store, or I hear it first, second hand from the guy that runs the store that I regularly play at, or I find out, from weird sources all over the place sometimes that things are selling out, and it's like, that should do this and this and this and this. Yeah, and I got my understanding of this from watching Magic Finance videos. What am I kidding? My interest in this is definitely up there, but it's all because I've been watching nonsense. I've learned my financial stratagems from watching people talk finance and Magic the Gathering. I'm kind of sad right now about that. I'm not going to lie. But at the same time, it's motivated me to go to an RRSP. We have an RESP for our daughter. We're going to get RESPs for our son. So boring stuff. Let's talk about HeroClix. Mick, you got another question? Mike should be here soon anyway. So
you mentioned it, so now I want to hear the story. How was your first match?
Okay, I'm not sure if this would be our first official match or whatever. It was definitely the first that I do remember actually facing against Jason, because at the time that we were both regularly attending the same tournament, unless we were matched up in the first round, which very rarely happens, we wouldn't be matched up any later in the tournament because Jason was usually winning and I was usually losing.
Yeah, you showed up during the Armor Wars prizes, right?
I don't even know. Yes?
Yeah, because that's when I was on Try Hard, Gotta Win 'Em All mode.
Yeah. And I was just like, hey, I like HeroClix, let's have fun. So like I was nowhere near even considering being competitive at the time. And they had introduced what was called New Guy Night. And basically bring a friend who didn't know how to play HeroClix or had never played at a venue before. And if you brought a friend, you and them got a special LE. And then the format that our venue had done was that we did a team battle. So you and your partner would be one team, and then someone else and their partner would be another team. So, and it was just kind of like a casual introduction to the game, get to know the other players sort of deal. So at the time, I was 17, 18. 18. I was really young. And I brought my girlfriend with me. And Jason's new guy was one of the guys that worked at the shop.
Because I couldn't find a new guy because I lived at work.
Yeah. So we had sat down and I had built my girlfriend a team based on the characters that she wrote in a role-playing game that we played that was based on X-Men. So that she wasn't a comic reader. She didn't know much past the 90s cartoon. So, and she was a really big Jubilee fan. And so I had catered the teams to work for that. So the whole time we were there, we were basically like just shooting the shit and talking to the guys about like this whole role-playing game that we played and all of the random scenarios that they got into and all of the characters that were based off of that. And Jason's there as like this 22-year-old, like, I live at work. This is what I do for my free time. Why the hell am I listening to these girls babble along about this drama?
She's got it all bullshit wrong. Here's how it went. This is nonsense. Give me my Hulk.
But yeah, so it was basically like two chatty teenage girls talking about like their fan fictions while Jason was trying to play the game.
I was trying to teach somebody how to play the game. Because Here's a lesser known fact. I used to work for Games Workshop in the retail space, so I know a thing or two about teaching or introducing people into a game. And I'm just I gotta listen to this nonsense across the table. I was like, Shane, here's how. No, that's not how you move figures. Stop chewing on the figure. I'm just being goofy. Point being is that I'm trying to teach this guy, and then all of a sudden, I've got. Now, when Amber says role-playing game, you're picturing a D20, a D4, a D6, a bunch of different dice. No. This is not a role-playing game, ladies and gentlemen. This is a bunch of nonsense tweens, as it were, in a forum on the internet writing what we like to call fan fiction now.
Interactive fan fiction.
Based fan fiction. Internet fanfic doesn't matter. Fan fiction, fan fiction.
Is it interactive?
Interactive is you can be thousands of miles away from somebody in the internet, right? Anyway, so they're babbling on about this, and none of it makes any sense because me and Shane read comic books, you see. So they're talking about characters that we're trying to explain. I'm trying to explain to Shane how powers work. I'm trying to use comic book based references as my basis of comparison. And it's falling on dumbfounded ears. And I don't think Shane plays the game of HeroClix anymore. And I think Amber and her friend are the reason that he doesn't play HeroClix anymore, because he did play HeroClix after that day. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a story about how Amber ruined the game of HeroClix for a brand new player.
Yep.
All right, so let's open up the floor to a more interesting question. So I don't have to relive that in my life again. And I'm going to go double check to make sure that's... Okay, no, that's just the last person I banged. Never mind, we're good. Nick, what's up, buddy? Now that you've created an awkward silence in the room.
So somewhere you guys have a picture of, like, Amber in a wedding dress and you in a tux. Did you guys actually play HeroClix on like your wedding day?
100% post.
Yeah.
If you actually look at the map that's on that table, because you should be able to see the figures and the map on there. That is one of the mini maps that you were able to pull from the Teen Titans boosters, I believe it was. The Teen Titans had the mini map things that they're like, we have plans for this. They didn't have plans for it. They just put a piece of paper in a box.
It was like maybe a 10 by 10 square. Not
even that. It was like 5 by 5 at best. But basically, we threw some figures on there just to make the cover page of our Facebook. That was the plan from the get-go, was to pose a picture like that. Look, I don't know if you know how a wedding works. Playing happens, but it's not HeroClix.
I was going to say, I would be very surprised.
That is legitimately a picture from our wedding day, though. Like, it was after the ceremony, we went back to the hotel while we were waiting to transfer from the ceremony to the reception. We had some time in between, and we went back to the hotel room and set up that photo shoot.
Amber's maid of honor took the picture, and
there's actually about 5 or 6 pictures, and we just picked the best one.
Yeah, we picked the one that looked like me making a critical miss, which is the one that felt the most natural. We also have a picture of me in nothing but a pair of pants and a pair of suspenders. I look like the second boss of any side-scrolling fighting beat-em-up game that you've ever seen in your life.
And then the topper for our wedding cake is Hulk and Red She-Hulk in wedding clothes on top of a pile of Hydra agents.
Made out of HeroClix, nonetheless.
All made out of HeroClix. And Red She-Hulk is smashing the bouquet, and Hulk is just being Hulk. And that was the topper of our cake, and our cake actually had a D6 on it. Like a giant cake D6.
Yeah. Yeah, so our cake was very HeroClix, that's for sure. That's for sure. And I know Michael said he was going to be here around 10:30, so we still got a little bit of time for him. Mick, floor is still yours because the Patron Discord.
I think Nathaniel has a question.
Here we go. What sets would you like to see this year not already announced? Okay, well, what do we have announced just so we can avoid it? So we have an X-Men set for February.
And we have Infinity War.
We have the Avengers Infinity.
Sorry, Infinity.
And we also said Ninja Turtles Unplugged.
Yeah.
So how about Ninja Turtles Plugged? Let's see.
We're gonna get at least one DC set.
So what do we want the DC set to be? We just had a Harley Quinn set. What is DC? Okay, so let's be realistic. DC is going to be based on something that's popular because DC needs to sell popular right now. And we have an idea. We're pretty sure that the Batman metal stuff is going to show up, right? So that's a given.
Yeah, I just don't know if that'll be this year or next year.
And yeah, either way, it's gonna be chases.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So we'll get beyond that. Rebirth. They might actually do a Rebirth set.
I guess so.
No, they did. I was gonna say they haven't done a New 52 set. Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
a very small New 52 set. So yeah, maybe DC Rebirth.
Yeah, that's because I don't follow DC really, so I don't know what their major events have been. And like we just did Harley and the Gotham Girls, which was more of like a very female centric set.
At least they kept some kind of theme going.
Yeah, so I don't know what sort of like theme they could kind of just run, because like before that we had Joker's Wild, which was more a lower level figures and like street thug
and Jakeem Thunder
characters. Yeah.
Anybody that a police officer could punch in the face and knock out, right?
As far as Marvel sets, I want at some point, I really want a Secret Wars set. Like I think they could do a full set with that sort of theme as the main theme, and then do sub themes under that, or even a storyline event with that. If I don't even know if they're gonna keep going. That's one thing I don't know if they're gonna keep going with storyline events. Because we didn't have one last year because of the 15th anniversary.
We did and we didn't. Because what if in Elseworlds the prize focus were the Colossals and the ships? We just weren't forced into the storyline OP, because that is what creates the created the, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, the non-confidence or the disinterest, the disinterest in those sets. So like Fear Itself, interesting set, really good idea for the event, but because it ran over 6 months, fatigue. We were all fatigued by it by the end of it. War of Light, we were all fatigued at the end of it. Age of Ultron was the only one. I didn't think we had fatigue. I think we hit that perfect point.
It was the first one to run 4 months instead of 6.
Then we had Civil War.
And then interesting concept, good sealed set,
Poor
but
execution.
just it didn't go. And I think that killed it for. I think that killed storyline events for a lot of players.
Yeah, and then after that, I think What If and Elseworlds were intended to be storyline events like those, but they just they kind of looked at it, lost confidence in it, and let people just buy them, which is cool. And I think they should stick to that. But on the scale of set releases, initially I was kind of like, it's not so bad last year. Then I counted how many sets came out last year. And then we were doing we could have almost done a top 10 list of sets that came out in 2017.
Yeah. That's
how crazy a year 2017 was for sets. I would like a little bit of dial back on that. If it was up to me, it would be fewer, bigger sets every year.
Yeah.
But then this would be closer to an LCG at that point, and then it's hard to say how the game would last on that. It would be a great boon to the sealed and draft idea of HeroClix by creating bigger sets. If there's, and I'm going hypothetical, and we're way off the base now as far as anticipated sets for the year. But imagine if we had instead of a 60 figure set, we had a 180 figure set for each universe. One Marvel set, one DC set. It's a lot of figures to collect. We increase the number of chases in each set, increase the number of super rares, increase the number of rares, so on and so forth, in order to reflect this. As well, they don't limit the distribution of them. So what happens now is you have 180 figures to collect in the set. You disparage the idea of collecting a single set, first of all. The idea of it just becomes pure bollocks. But then what ends up happening is you actually grow an environment in which people are enticed to play sealed and draft, because right now the sealed and draft for HeroClix is I've got enough of this 60-figure set. I don't need to buy anymore, because we all buy a lot. Like even if this was this case, we buy a lot up front, but then all the sealed and draft that we'd be playing, we'd be accumulating more and more that we possibly needed.
We've had people that don't buy bricks and cases and just go to like sealed tournaments and get like 75% of the set.
Yeah. And, if the sets were bigger, regular players would be more enticed to play in sealed. They'd still have to fix the sealed environment and the sealed functionality of the game in general, and they'd have to be super careful about the size of that. But what I'm saying is, we as players, we as purchasers, we as collectors would be more enticed to play sealed. And if more people are playing sealed or more people are playing draft for HeroClix, that means the stores are selling more of the products consistently, instead of these big bursts, hoping that they ordered enough and then it's all gone and they don't have to look at it anymore, right? Because HeroClix is not a sustainable game when it comes down to keeping it on the shelf, locally anyway, or on a grand scale of it. I mean, there's some stores, and here's the thing, people are going to jump in and say, my store always has stuff on the shelf and I'm always buying it. Great. You're actually the outliers. Every time I go into a store, I feel bad when I go to like Eternal Games or when I go to a Carta Magica, because when I go to these stores, I have everything already, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to support the store in some way, shape, or form beyond just coming to a tournament. Which is why I'm glad that a lot of these stores are also board game stores.
Well, like when we went to Eternal Games, we got expansions for a board game called Small World.
Mm-hmm.
When we went to Carta Magica, we bought plush Pokemon for our kids.
Yeah. We do like to support the stores, but WizKids makes it hard. I can go into a store. When I play Magic, I buy a box, I play in pre-releases, and then that's it. I get a case, and then I buy packs off the shelf occasionally. And I never feel like I'm wasting money when I'm buying a pack off the shelf. And I think that's a problem we have with HeroClix, is at times I feel like I'm wasting money when I buy a pack off the shelf. So I don't know. And I could be completely off base. Everybody could disagree with me, okay? I understand that. I'm trying to come up with a way so that we can play sealed, support our stores, and at the same time, keep everybody happy in some way, shape, or form. That's all I want. I want us all to be happy, all of us to play on an equal footing, and all of us to be enticed to play on equal footing. Because the more and more I play sealed, the more and more I get it. I get the idea of just, I didn't have to think beforehand. I had to think now. Okay, what do I have? Build it and go. I get that feeling now. I mean, I'm still not big on it competitively, but that's coming from the balance of the game of HeroClix. It needs a lot of work. But that's what it is. Gosh, every time it comes to something like this, I don't know. It's been a while since I've tangented like that. We were keeping it kind of short, concise today. And then I just went into outer space on a question. What sets are you looking for? Sealed, bigger sets, business.
Change your entire business format.
I think everybody's been trying to trigger me on a tangent today. I've been really well behaved. So, all right. But without further ado, Mr. Fedor, Mr. Michael, the Alpha patron has arrived. Oh my gosh, his mic setup is better than ours. I don't know if I like this.
Oh crap! Now I just broke it. Well, not technically. I just
Hey, you found the oh god, what is it called?
The doobly-doo?
The doobly-doo for your mic that you didn't have last time.
Yeah. Like I'm talking to you from the hotel. Like I brought all my laptop stuff, and I hooked it all up right as I clocked out. By the way, so I'm not on anything like that. But
on your break?
Yeah, like that. So that's all taken care of. I didn't want to. Yeah, I would still have like another half an hour to get home and everything like that. So I didn't want to, keep you guys waiting. So I thought maybe if I just do it from here in the hotel, then I can get on a lot sooner, and the show wouldn't run as long. So, okay, my first question, of course, I come prepared, is that I would like to know how come
there, or at least maybe you guys know this. How
Are you on hotel Wi-Fi? Because
I think that's hotel Wi-Fi. That looks like hotel Wi-Fi.
that's hotel Wi-Fi. I've never seen it.
Hmm.
So you're gonna have to repeat the question in full because we caught none of that. The hotel internet lagged on you. It was the internet connection. Your face stopped and no sound was coming out. So your mic's working fine. It's the sound.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry. So how come there was no special holiday OP kit this year, or last year, I should say?
I'm pretty sure there was one that was planned and then it just didn't. It seemed like there was a few things near the end of last year.
You got this because I have no idea.
That were planned and then got canceled or just were not. Because we were supposed to have a premium map for Star Trek too, and that got canceled. And then I know there were rumors that there was supposed to be a holiday one this year because they'd done one like the last few years. We had gotten a holiday figure.
Yeah, we had the Krampus, the Abominable Snowman, the Santa's Elf, and stuff like that.
Last year, and made the toy soldiers, and yeah,
Abominable Snowman the year before.
Yeah, so there definitely been a trend of doing them, but perhaps there was feedback from the stores that they just weren't getting people to come out for these tournaments because
there's always
it's
sacks
a
of
very
leftovers,
it's very hard time of the year to get anybody to come out. If you're up north like us, you just don't want to be outside or traveling.
Don't want to be reminded of the cold either with the Abominable Snowman.
There's something like 29 different holidays that are actually celebrated in the month of December. So I can understand that if it actually had been planned, that there's a possibility that venues kind of had feedback on that and is like, yeah, we're not going to buy these because they're not doing anything for us anymore. So that's a all of this is just possible things I'm throwing out into the air though. Like, I have no idea.
I think the biggest problem was that they were big bags of a single figure. So you know how we get the OP kit figures? There's a bag of 15, 5 of each, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
5 of each of the figures. But in this case, you're looking at a bag of 15 Abominable Snowmen, which means throughout the entire month of December, you got Abominable Snowmen being handed out. That's not going to attract players. It's going to attract a couple players here and there, and you might be able to run one tournament with that and just hand it out to everybody. Grand scale of it, wasn't worth it to the stores. I think what they should have done is so it's 12, 4 of each, my bad. So you got bags of 12 Abominable Snowmen still. That's still a lot of Abominable Snowmen. They would have needed to come up with, I think, 3 different things in order to entice people to come out to multiple tournaments during the holiday season. Now, our store saw a massive, massive decline in HeroClix players throughout the holidays. It's been rough. We're hoping to see a lot more this week. I know it looks like a couple more people are coming up for this week. I know a guy who's coming to pick up a deal that we've been working on for a Shadowcat for a while. This has been a work in progress for the better part of a month now. Poor guy. But it's just a hard season and everybody talks like this decline starts in like mid-October. Yeah. Because that, as well, we start to ramp up around the competitive season again. And the competitive season starts again like February. March. Starts in March.
Yeah.
Right. Like March to June is the big competitive season. And then there's that little lull before Rocktober, and then October, it all kind of just goes kaputski. We're all kind of worn out, beat up, and it's a reflection on how many of the players that play the game show up to these big events. They do define kind of the mood of the game, as it were. And yeah, so long and short of it is the holidays are hard to run. The prizes were, I guess, not enticing enough or not worth it or something to that matter. And this, in the end, they needed to kind of refocus it, I guess. So we'll see what happens next holidays. But yeah, there looks like there was nothing this holiday season.
Again, these are all hypothetical as the most likely scenarios for things not happening.
Because the real answer is, why didn't it happen?
Yeah, we don't know.
I'd blame Trek.
Yeah. Our conversations with Wiz Kids are, hey guys, how's it going? Great, good talk, good job on this set. So when is Scott Porter doing his video? When can we have our stuff?
Please give us product.
So
Here's our links. Please give us product. Here's our links.
and I mean, but we do enjoy our conversations that we have with them in person this past year. We got a lot closer with the folks over at WizKids. Well, at least Amber did. I spent a lot of time playing HeroClix, to be brutally honest, and being distracted. And to talk. Oh, man, I get inundated with the people when it comes to big events. Like, I get the people attraction. Amber gets to see the cool people. Not to say that our fans aren't cool people. I'm going to cover myself on that one. But Amber gets, like... marketing people and the Scott D'Agostinos and the big front facers of WizKids talking to her, and I get the fans because, I guess my voice is loudest and recognizable, and I think it's the haircut, right?
Well, you're a man of the people. That's what you're. You're a man of the people, Jason.
It's true. I am. I'm both a man of the people and stand out in the crowd. Both in voice and height.
Honestly,
You're also the one in the spotlight.
Spotlight glares.
I was just walking around the show floor at one point, and I walked around the back of the booth, and I heard, "Oh, hey, Amber!" I turn around, I'm like, "Oh, hey, Scott! You know my name, and you called me out. This is cool. Hi."
I do love my interactions with everybody out in public. It's one of those things. Don't get me wrong. I love you all. It's just how things seem to go. Amber is short and ducks through the crowd, and I am a crowd. So that, and I do also, like, I stop to talk to a lot of players that I'm familiar with.
Yeah.
Not necessarily fans of the show. Guys like Patrick, who I work with on the Majestics, we spend a lot of time talking. I get caught in a conversation with him, and then fans join the conversation. It's like, whoa! All of a sudden.
Although Worlds was the world debut of my pink hair, so it was a little easier to find this year.
Well, you're easy to find, but nobody recognized you with the pink hair because
It's true. Nobody knew who I was.
It was good. It was both. It was hiding in plain sight, as it were.
Yes.
They also didn't realize you are as short as I joke about.
Yeah, like, I honestly, guys, like, for the few people that have actually met me in person, I am 5'0". Like, I'm
6'0".
I am very easy to not see in a crowd.
Yeah. So, I've had to check the sole of my feet a couple times around Amber. All right. So we come back around to Mick.
What is your favorite vehicle?
Feels like a loaded question because I feel like I use a vehicle I use a lot of. I guess the vehicle I used the most was the tank, wasn't it? No, not that tank. Not the PIM tank. The tank from Batman.
The haunted tank?
Nope, the other one.
The other tank.
The military tank.
The non-haunted tank.
Yeah, because I think it had like PD capability and enhancement. And I remember using it on a Pacific Rim team. I was a weirdo with that team, but it had a lot of fun.
I am trying to remember if I've ever actually played a vehicle. I think I've played Cap's motorcycle. I think that's like the only vehicle I've actually played. I can tell you my least favorite vehicle.
What's that?
Bug.
I was so sick of that thing. 23 clicks of nonsense.
My goodness, the Bug.
That's only because one of our friends just... Sometimes I love playing casual HeroClix, but, generally from casual HeroClix, you expect to see different things, not the same thing every time you play casual HeroClix, so whatever. That's neither here nor there. It's a small gripe. I'm trying to think if you've played a vehicle ever. Did we not do an episode on vehicles or a vehicle week or something like that?
We definitely did not do like a game based around vehicles.
You lose the bat cycle, the spacesuit, the. Okay, cool. Amber doesn't like vehicles. Gotcha. All right. I'm done. I'm done trying to figure it out. Not even overdrive, eh?
No,
Not
I don't think
even
I've ever actually used overdrive too. Maybe Warlock?
You use Warlock. Your Warlock is your most used vehicle. And
Think
he's
so.
not even a vehicle. Oh, man. Okay. Yeah, there we go.
Casual Corner episode. Amber explores vehicles.
Don't
you know what?
explore vehicles casually.
There are going to be vehicles in the upcoming
Avengers Infinity set.
There's going to be the spider buggy.
After Avengers Infinity, we're doing a vehicle list. We're doing a top 10 list of vehicles.
Spider buggy.
It was going to be like top 10 most fun vehicles to play, not top 10 super strong vehicles.
Yeah.
It's not. And then again, using the word fun is subjective because people like to win. The Pim tank is my most fun vehicle. It's like, screw you.
I mean, doesn't everybody like to explode a plane?
Ugh. Quinjet, you never used a Quinjet?
Nope.
The invisible jet? You used
The Merc jet?
Nope.
All right.
Like I said, the only vehicles I can remember using was Cap's motorcycle.
I mean, to be fair, Cap's motorcycle is my most used one, but I modded it.
Yeah, I think I only use Cap motorcycle because Mike put it on a team for me.
Mike paid you to use it. That's the only time we can get you to use a vehicle is to pay you to do it. There it is, Amber. You know, Nathaniel, I'd agree with you, except he doesn't punch him that well in HeroClix too. I still got to make Tom that shirt. The silhouettes of all the characters with exploit weakness that don't die when they use it. All right.
Yeah, I modded the Cap's motorcycle, and I was running that on a couple of teams for like 3 weeks because I was so proud of the fact that I got Captain America to actually sit on his motorcycle.
Nice.
That's pretty cool. It's really cool. All right. Mike.
All right, guys. So this is
I told you. Discord does stupid things to my computer.
Go ahead, Mike.
Alrighty. So this is based on the game that I played yesterday. I had a 300-point monster team, and 190 points of it was Venom Hulk. And after the game was over, I was talking with the guy I was playing with. He's like a master and everything. I go to him for advice and things like that. And I asked him, well, would you rather I play this at the Venom Hulk at 100 points? And he said, okay, well, it could be more of a tie-up piece than anything. So my question to you is, would 100 points be too much for just a tie-up piece on a team, or how average, or what would you say that, would be the recommended point cap for a tie-up piece on a team?
Well, okay. That's a question that comes with 1,000 caveats. And here's the reason. I can make a team with a 200-point tie-up figure with a Devil Dinosaur and say that my Devil Dinosaur did all the work so long as the Pogs do all the work, right? But I can also make a team with a 45-point tie-up as an example that does the same thing so that my 200-point character can kill you. It comes down to how you want to invest it and what way you're expecting to tie up and what you have to deal with. The Unimind problem right now is a good solid example of how do I tie that up and still be able to play the game of HeroClix. And the bad news is it's not very easy. I mean, does anybody create characters with low plasticity other than Carnage? And when Carnage does it, you have to have taken an attack. Nobody wants to take an attack from Unimind, let me tell you. Right? Now, Mick does jump into Discord and point out that, yeah, Floral Colossal's also he's a 10-point option, as long as one of your dice rolls at some point at some time was a 5 or 6. Because now you're forcing extra attacks on him. And that becomes another possibility is there's multiple ways to consider tie-up, right? Creating the tie-up or being the tie-up. So committing to the tie-up does depend on what you expect the tie-up to do. Now, I've said the word tie-up 1,000 times. The word has no meaning. Venom Hulk himself is a twofold tie-up. He comes with the natural plasticity, shape change, and automatic breakaway. Cool combination of things. Can't argue with that. As well, he comes with the ability to do damage. So he's looking at him as just tie-up is... He's also got impervious, right? So on his top 3 clicks and heck, even those clicks with the special defense power, he's got the chance of rolling out of attacks twice, right? Because shape change is always there, unless they have to be outwitting. Impervious is there if they didn't outwit it. So you have 2 rolls, right? You roll for let them attack, and then you roll if they hit you, possibly not taking any damage. Super Senses does the same thing, right? So what ends up happening is you're overcommitting, and that's really the reality of it. Is this is what we want a tie-up character to do. We want to force your opponent to overcommit to something, right? Which is why bystander strategies right now, along with Unimind, are among the popular stratagems. Because bystander strategies, creating character strategies, create overcommitment. Putting something in the way of your opponent makes them want to do a thing that they shouldn't want to do, but are forced then to have to do. Venom Hulk, not a bad idea to look at him as a tie-up figure, not too expensive a tie-up figure considering the output he can put forward. But you do have to kind of take the blinders off of the tie-up thing and go, oh, look at all that cool stuff he does. Right? And then you start to recognize how absolutely amazing he is. Now, he is a high commitment in points, so you got to make sure that the rest of your team is bringing it. Now, with 190 points put into him,
I think he was also talking about the 100-point version.
Well, the 100-point version is cool, but it's not as mobile, right? If you want to commit to the 100-point version, that's also possible, but you're committing to 5 clicks of health with no stop clicks. Which is and also outwittable in 2 ways, right? So if they happen to have 2 outwits and the ability to hit you up, there it is, right? Now, Nathaniel in the Discord also brought up the tie-up, who's still a great tie-up, and that is a ha-ha-ha-ha Joker. You want to commit between 30 and 50 points and watch your opponent go, come on. That's the figure to do it. Because not only is he indomitable, he sidesteps, and he's just generally annoying. He's too many clicks to want to commit to him. Now, he's an unstable dial now. But that doesn't necessarily mean he's useless. Let's not kid ourselves. All right? He's still really good. He's still, for full dial, whatever you get out of it, like whatever you're paying out of him, you get 1.66 points per click. And there's like 18 clicks that you could be, between 18 and 30 clicks you could have to deal with that fluctuate based on the die roll, right? So it's between 15 and 18, we'll say, depending on how things go in that way. So I've gone way off kilter here. Tie-up is what you make of it and how you see it. The idea is to commit something to force commitment. And I think that's the best way to look at it. and just to understand what you're trying to get out of whatever character you're using to delay your opponent's team. And the second most important thing about the tie-up is the follow-up. Because there's one thing to say, I can stop you, I can force a bunch of things, force you to deal with this one thing. But what is that one thing setting you up for? And that's the big thing. I can toss the jabs, but if I don't have the right hook to follow it up, why am I jabbing? This is the worst jab in the world, by the way. Do not jab like this. Do not take boxing lessons from my wagging fists. This is not how you're going to learn how to box. You're right there, Amber?
Yep.
Okay. Do you have a more concise answer to my question? Or
Nope.
Okay. Did I answer it correctly now for you?
Sure.
Okay.
You talk the strategies.
Also, honorable mention, the 50-point Hulk from the Mighty Thor starter. That is some tie-up piece, because let me tell you, if you commit 50 points to your opponent with a 12 attack, possible 4 damage, okay. Have them deal with that. They don't want to, but they have to. And that's the important part. Because if they have to, great tie-up. They don't have to, not good tie-up. I'm done. I'm babbling. You're in charge of me, Amber.
No, I'm not.
All right, Nick.
So you talked about running some jank teams for fun. What was your most fun jank team?
The team that accidentally built my PD team from Canadian Nationals one year. That was the most. Here's the problem with Jason Collins. He pulls a bunch of random things out of a buy basket, calls it jank, and then it ends up building his teams. No, but honest answer, I think my I had something really filthy that won and had no business. Oh no! I remember what it was. It was my hand team. Yep, it's what Amber wanted me to say. This is my hand team.
Because you forgot what Kingpin did.
I did forget what Kingpin did. And this was the Kingpin from the first Deadpool set, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Because Amazing Spider-Man. No, okay. So this is the week everybody brought their teams to practice for Canadian Nationals for. And I was sick of practicing my team. I was really tired of it. I was really bored of it. And I just wanted to just pull some jank. So I went into blind mode and grabbed a figure. This is how I do it. I grab a figure, and I'm like, okay, does this figure have a keyword that I haven't used before? It happened to be the Kingpin. But I'm a big fan of hand ninjas, let me tell you. And this Kingpin had the hand keyword. So I brought the Kingpin, a couple hand ninjas, and I think it was the Prime Hobgoblin from Avengers Assemble. Or not Avengers Assemble, from Amazing Spider-Man. Now, okay, granted, not necessarily pure jank, but that Hobgoblin didn't really see competitive play. That Kingpin saw no competitive play. The two hand ninjas saw no competitive play. And I'm playing against nothing but competitive teams. And I ruined two people's teams that day. And almost ruined a third. And the guy who went on that was actually one of the guys that was going to play Canadian Nationals. I ruined two guys, and they didn't want to play in Canadian Nationals after that because I had played nonsense and beat them. Because this was not a super hyper competitive team, but I just, I forgot that the Kingpin could outwit through other characters, and then all of a sudden the hand ninjas were doing weird things, and the Hobgoblin was pulse waving and adding tokens to people too.
This is the Kingpin that if you had one of 4,
oh, that's right.
If you have one of 4 powers, you now have one of those other 4 powers.
That's right. And the hand ninjas have precision strike.
Yeah.
Which meant they also had enhancement. So you get precision strike. If you had precision strike or ignores hindering for line of fire or enhancement, you had precision strike, enhancement, and ignores characters for line of fire. So what ended up happening is I think these were the 30, 40-point hand ninjas. I don't remember how many points they were. They were from the Deadpool set, but they had a small range too. And it ended up being like 3/4 damage hand ninjas that ignored hindering with a 4 range that were in stealth and had the Hydra team ability to beat off of each other. With a lot of looks like this. People were so angry because, again, they brought resources. They brought super awesome figures. They brought, like, this is the year of both the Raining Hammers,
Book of the
Skulls, and batteries. All of the batteries were legal. And I came with this team, and 2 guys don't want to go to Canadian Nationals anymore. One guy's like, I gotta fix my team. I'm like, yeah, you do. Oh, I'm such a bad person. I think tonight, because I'm going out tomorrow to play Hero Clix, I'm gonna have Amber pick the set for me. I might even have my daughter build a team for me. I don't know.
Do it.
That's what we're gonna do. I always have her build it. Sometimes I have her build a team for me. It's like, here, just go. That was the other thing. She built a team for me one day, and I won that tournament too.
Yeah, and it was just like, I like this figure. I like this figure.
Yeah. And
this is before we were even teaching her how to play.
Yeah. Yes, I remember this. And because I had brought her, and I was like, Alexis, you gonna come watch the last game I play here? It's like, no, don't put her on. Her guys are scary. I didn't end up winning that 3rd round, but like I went 2-1. I was in the final against a guy who had brought like a Phoenix Force Magic, and a couple misses was what actually kept me from winning that. The next Super Lex video is this week, Nathaniel. Heads up. New Super Lex video on around the corner, by the way, speaking of our daughter. So, yeah, I ruin people's days like that. When it comes to my daughter building a team, I've stopped telling people when that happens so they don't feel so bad.
I had a tournament, and I don't even remember how well I did, but it was like a wacky scenario where you built 3 different teams and then you played a different team each round.
I remember that.
And she built all 3 teams for me. I don't remember at all how I did, but it was like one of the rare days that it was just me and her in the shop. And like I was just like, all right, let's go. I had like a Ninja Turtle team and an X-Men team and I think probably a DC superhero team. And it was just like, all right, Alexis, build me teams.
All right, Mike.
All right, this is excellent. So, because this is a great way to go into my next question, which is, have anyone you know actually tried running an all-mark mercenary team? Speaking of jank teams, like, have you either seen somebody say that they've run an all-mark team like that? I gotta imagine that game would be quite short.
If they did, they lost immediately and just didn't want to play that day, so I don't know why they would. Because if I remember correctly, the mercenary loses when the mercenaries are the only characters on your team, correct?
Some of them?
Force is only characters named mercenary after resolutions. KO all friendly characters named mercenary.
Yeah, so first turn, you die.
So no, nobody's ever fessed up to something like that. And something very to bring something like that, something very important has to be going on as far as participation is concerned. And I'm thinking you're going to a WKO in March and you only want Professor X ID cards. And that's all you care about. So, and I can't foresee that happening. So if anybody's done it, they haven't admitted to it. And I don't think anybody owns enough mercenaries for that because you need 20 for a 300-point team. So,
although I could see someone having a linchpin, a leader, and then surrounding that person with mercenaries and just be like, mercenaries, go.
Here it is. I got it. Mercenary. in tribbles. And you just keep making tribbles. Let the mercenaries do all the work, and you just keep making tribbles.
I kind of want you to make that team now.
That sounds just jank enough to be fun.
I gotta find out how many mercenaries we own now.
Because that still covers the mercenaries from Deadpool, right?
Are they called mercenary?
I think they are.
Is this Deadpool in the X-Force or Deadpool?
Deadpool and X-Force.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the guy that switches teams, right?
Yep. So you play this mercenary and fill the rest of your team with mercenaries, like those other ones, and then this is the last mercenary left all of a sudden. That would be pretty funny. Just to be that guy. Yeah, again, I haven't seen that kind of nonsense. I'm sure that kind of nonsense exists in somebody's brain. I know I hypothetically considered it once as like, should I go to a tournament with it? Oh, but then I'm going to lose every game and then I'm going to sit around for an hour between rounds. It's just not going to be fun. And I don't think you're going to get the right laugh that you're looking for. It's like, haha, now you've got to wait for an hour too, buddy. Like, you got to be in some kind of mood for that. Or, you're so angry at the guys that play your stores. Like, you know what? Fine. I'm not even going to play. My team's made up of mercenaries. All right, game starts. Good game. Bye-bye.
A follow-up question, if I may. Why didn't they make the mercenary better and at least make maybe instead of a 10 attack, an 11 attack? Or it just seems so cannon, too much of a cannon fodder to balance it out with maybe, okay, could we increase the stats a little bit better or her stats, I guess it's a female mercenary.
I think you missed us seeing
because
its
range
phrases.
combat expert.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the range combat expert gets over that particular downfall. In fact, I think the fact that it's 4 clicks on a 15-point character, 3 clicks. It's 3 clicks. Sorry, my bad. But it's also got willpower to go. 15-point character with willpower with range combat expert and a 5 range. It also has stealth. I think this is undercosted at its finest. It's 5 points a click for this.
Oh man, I had perplex and stuff on my team, and that mercenary, there were turns where it was just that mercenary was dealing 5 damage.
Yep.
I'm like, okay, cool, let's go.
I had enhancement on my team. Was it no? Did I? Yeah. Because I had the rare enchantress.
Yep.
So there was some turns where I had enhancement next to that mercenary. Or perplex next to that mercenary. A big perplex is if you include the title Harley.
Yeah.
Like that can get out of hand before you know it.
Well, yeah, when I started having to take into account all of the bonuses that Harley could, I stopped trying to do the math. I'm like, this is hurting my head too much.
Okay, so he can hit me. And then I think the first attack I made against you was a critical miss, or was it the second attack I made against you was a critical miss? It was like
second or third.
And I was like, yep, I can easily hit you. No, I can't. Nope. I need a 4. That's 2 1s. Yeah, I know. I was halfway there. But no, I think the mercenary is plenty fine for the points that you get it for, to be brutally honest. I mean, 15 points for that first click is enough, to be brutally honest. So, there's pogs that are less, that are the same points as that first click. And have less going for it.
And how many times did we play Scotty's robot for 14 points?
That was 30 points.
Was it 30 points?
Yeah, Scotty's robot was 30 points.
I thought it was 15.
But 30 points.
Oh no, I'm thinking of Rogue Sentinel.
Yeah, you're thinking of the Rogue Sentinel. The Rogue Sentinels. It's just we always played a lot because Rogue Sentinels. That's all. Okay, Mick, do you have any more questions? Are you still awake?
Okay, there we go. I keep forgetting when I hit my mute button and when I don't. But I'll let Mike go again. I'll think of something. I promise.
Cool.
I always do.
Mike has a list. I think we're going to use his list as our ticking clock, as it were, for the rest of the episode here.
All right. Hi, guys. So have you guys hopefully you haven't covered this yet, but have you covered the new Professor X sculpt that I guess they just released this evening? Like, I was doing my research, not on the clock. If you unofficially, anyway, the new Professor X in the new sets looks a little different from the one they just released. Instead of pointing to his head, he's got like extended outreach, like kind of like yeah. Can we make fun? Yeah, yeah, kind of.
What's that? I missed that. What do you ask?
He's talking about the new Professor X that got previewed. I'm not certain where he was going with it though.
Yeah, I'm sorry. What do you guys think of the sculpt? Whether it's too dramatic, like because normally I know where most of these sculpts come from, like I guess a specific panel. I recognize a lot of these different sculpts and things like that from different artwork, like that. And I don't know. What do you think they got this Professor X, the newest Professor X sculpt, like when he looks like he's yearning for someone out, reaching out like this?
Well, I mean, even Professor X needs love, right? Mm-hmm. It's such a double-edged sword when it comes to the sculpts. Like nobody, I prefer when they're a little bit more dynamic. Like as an example, if you look at that new Jean Grey, I swear if they put a bus schedule next to her, you wouldn't notice a difference. Like just the bus post or a bus stop post, you wouldn't even be able to tell the difference. Thanks, Amber. Is that not the picture of him getting tossed down the stairs with Mr. Sinister? No, I'm just kidding. That's terribly bad taste. But that's like classic Professor X, right?
Yeah, it's calling something back, but I can't place like.
I'd have to reread X-Men #1 because I feel like that's an X-Men #1 type of thing.
It does say X-Men #1 for his significant appearance.
So,
or Uncanny X-Men #1.
It's nice that they can make a more dynamic, more exciting sculpt with a guy in a wheelchair than they made with most of World's Finest. I mean, with the demons that look like they have to use a toilet, and the Batmans that look like they're, Batman standing on a gargoyle again. Okay. Thanks, Amber. Amber is currently trying to find the. Hey, look!
It looks like some promotion from the
James McAvoy. Looks like James McAvoy. Great, cool. On the plus side, we don't get to look at this one and say, hey, it's another boring sculpt. It's a little bit more exciting than most. That's Ian McKellen and Patrick. Amber, you get out of your porn folder. We're supposed to be Googling this stuff.
I Google. All I did was Google Professor X. But yeah, it seems like James McAvoy does that pose a lot in the promotional stuff and in the movies. So it's got to be coming from somewhere.
That's
all we got for you.
I'm not really fazed by it, honestly. I mean, look what I did to Major Victory. Yeah. I'll never forgive myself for what I did to him. Such a good figure. And then I think that very summer or that very October, Patrick went and won a Rock Cup with it. All right. Mick, did you have another question yet, or are we gonna?
Yeah, actually, that reminded me of a question that I'd had earlier, but I forgot about. So, speaking of that, Professor X, he lets you bring in a free ID card. What's kind of your opinion about characters actually like interacting with the ID cards more so?
For me, it does depend on whether or not it's going to be based on the student headmaster kind of thing. Because there is that distinction apparently in the set where some of them are going to be headmaster ID cards and some of them are going to be student ID cards.
Or teacher rather than headmaster.
Fair enough. Student teacher ID cards. And as long as the student teacher ID cards are only really there in namesake to facilitate these types of things, and then they do this kind of limitation, and then they make sure that the ID cards that you get out of student versus teacher are properly balanced, then yeah, I think it's really cool to continue this kind of thing. We've had this before in a character like Jarvis. The Quinjet was another one that we could do this with. This seems to be on a lower scale and on a more specific scale. So it does remain to be seen what we get out of student IDs and then what we get out of teacher IDs, and then how characters are going to react with those. In the nearer future, I still kind of see these as another thing to put on my teleporter. I'm sorry, that's kind of how I'm looking at them right now. But, you know, in the future, there's going to be a world where this teleporter or round table thing doesn't exist. And then I do have to kind of, if I'm going to be bringing these things in, find ways to cheat them in. And when it comes to competitive play, cheating them in, awesome. As far as a casual play, flavorful, Professor X brings a student with him. He's a teacher. Come on. I do have to see if Professor X is the exception rather than the rule, or if the rule does start to kind of become more interesting in other senses, right? So are more teachers going to bring student ID cards? How are we going to get teacher ID cards? Is there going to be a way to do that? Or are the teachers going to be based on the more powerful X-Men so as to not facilitate like Professor X bringing a Wolverine ID card in for free where Wolverine could be super strong? Or
Wolverine is a student card.
Sure. Okay. But the point is that the Wolverine that we get is going to be charged Blades Claws.
Yeah.
Right? So, okay, Wolverine was a bad example. What about a Cyclops with running shot blow through a wall, right? Or Kitty Pryde, who could probably run through a wall and do an attack or something to that effect, right? I think that's as long as everything is metered in a certain way and balanced in a certain way and super well thought out, I'm gonna give the set a ton of praise for the work that they did, and you know I'm really looking forward to seeing how they plan to use this. Initially, my first thoughts: cool, awesome, keep it up. But if the student ID cards start to see some of those students are a little, that's when I'll start to be concerned. Still too early to know because we don't have IDs.
Yeah.
I think it's the best way to look at it, right?
So far, all we know is that Storm is a teacher and Wolverine is a student.
I think Colossus is considered faculty too.
Yeah.
So I think that they end up pointing that on Discord as well. So I have to look at it. It was funny because I was looking at 2 copies of our Colossus. We have so many Colossus.
We ended up with like 5 or 6.
We ended up with 5.
Yeah.
I know I sent one as part of my Secret Santa for the HC Realms because I was like, I have 2 of these. How best to do this? I'll send it. He doesn't have it listed as his halves.
There you go.
You're welcome, Hellboy the Bellboy.
Hellboy the Bellboy now has an ID card and the Colossus ID card. Hey! All right. Mr. Michael Fidor.
Okay, my last question of the night, I guess I wanted to ask is, in your opinion, does the Starfleet set is it comparable, and can it hold its own against the Marvel and DC set characters?
So if I make a 500-point Starfleet team, am I going to be expecting to compete with a 500-point Marvel or DC team?
Yes, that was
long answer, short answer.
Yeah, you're going to say the long answer anyway.
I'm going to give the long answer whether you like it or not, but the long answer is hell's no. Because if we look exclusively at the Starfleet characters, exclusively at the Klingons, exclusively at the Romulans, it's like they bring a lot, but they're individually focused. Now, do they add into DC, Marvel, and make for a more robust team possibility? Absolutely. I think that they're going to add to the game more than anything. But when it comes down to it, the reach, the potential on them, it doesn't quite compare in a lot of cases. There is so much more strict Starfleet, strict DC. And I've played it, and I had to force my opponent into boredom and overstretching to then be able to take 1,000 actions to do possibly one attack that might have done 5 damage that I got a bunch of arrangements for. That said, they're not terrible. They're not the worst. And Nathaniel, you can disagree with me all you want. I've had this on the board. I've done this math beyond doing the math. I've witnessed it in action. And yes, I have won, but in strong comparison and just flat out, if I build my strongest possible Marvel team, my strongest possible DC team versus the strongest possible Starfleet team, there's going to be no comparison. Because what's strongest in Marvel just blows 90% of what Star Trek is out of the water, right? And Star Trek, in so many cases, almost completely dies to energy explosion as a team. So then you're forced to spread out, but then most of the stuff that's in Star Trek relies on being next to each other, right? So in the flat outness of it, there's nothing really out there that's just making me say this is going to happen, right? Now, if I have a team that has some Starfleet inclusion in it, there's so much going on that's so awesome that I'm not going to take away from it at all. There's a lot of really cool stuff in Star Trek that adds to the game, but I don't think on its own it particularly excels in a way that just, makes me go, oh yeah, Star Trek's going to ruin or defeat everything and whatnot. It's not bad, but it's not stand out. And you have to be playing against, a weaker opponent in order to crush them. And against a stronger opponent or, even at a same scale opponent, if you deplete yourself of Marvel and DC with your Starfleet, you're gonna have a much harder time, and it's gonna take a lot harder work, and you're gonna have to be a more clever opponent than your player than your opponent. But that said, on an even scale, there's not even a comparison level. But that's part of the. When it comes down to it, Star Trek has one set, and this is even if I keep it modern. Star Trek has one set, and Marvel has how many sets? So when it comes to availability of tools, et cetera, it's just not. It's not going to compete, right? Now, ask me again when the Next Generation or Deep Space Nine is added to the pool and they have more to work with. I could very well be changing my tune, but right now that tune is. This stuff is neat. It's fun, but it's still on a grand scale is really just adding to the game as opposed to changing the game. Amber,
I'm good with that.
Okay.
Like there are definitely figures that I want to use outside of Sealed and with mixing with the other universes, but I don't think I could see myself even, well, maybe possibly casually, but just see myself building an exclusive Starfleet or Klingon or Romulan team and then taking it to a tournament where I know every other universe is going to be used.
I mean, I think 3/4 of the
At
set.
least not do that and then expect to win games.
Doesn't 3/4 of the set die to a mercenary with an enhancer? And that's I can spend 30 points doing that.
Although I can always put that Spock on my team and then actually, hit things.
Yeah, because when you need 7s, you miss, but with Spock, it's all a 7. No, you know what'll happen then? You start critically missing with 4s.
I'll start rolling. God damn it, Spock! You're supposed to help me.
All right, Mick, that was Mike's last question. Do you got anything else before we start wrapping up?
No, I'll let him have the last question. Go for it.
I think he just asked the last question then.
I know.
All right, then. With that, I want to thank Mick, Mike, Nathaniel, everybody else in the patron chat who's been pinging us. The hell with you, whatever bots decided to attack my chat. Burn in hell, a fiery hell that also involves some kind of barbed wire sodomy. Because that was rude and really obnoxious. All that's said and done. Thanks to our patrons who wonderfully and generously open themselves and their wallets up to us on a monthly basis. And we look forward to a great 2018 with lots of really cool content and all kinds of neat ideas coming from us. We hope that the changes that we make to the content that we're running, or at least the metafix, my change to metafix, helps in some way, shape, or form, or is a welcome change. And if it's not, use the comments section to tell me otherwise. But in the meantime, guys, Amber, is there anything you want to add on the way out? All right, then. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for watching in the archives. Have a good night, everybody, and Happy New Year.